It is our pleasure to welcome you to the 10th episode of UTA Truck Talk. Today our featured guests are from Gable Capital Insurance. Gable Capital underwrites insurance policies for dealer open lot floor plans. Joining us today will be Jeff Martins, the president, and Brit Bastow, director of business development. I myself, Steve Bootsma from Vander, along with Scott Wynn from American Equipment Sales and Leasing, and Mike Gardecki with TransWest will be your host today. You will no doubt find this episode informative. Jeff and Brit will give us the real story behind premium hikes and provide ways our members can save money on this costly overhead expense. Gentlemen, welcome.
Good morning.
Could you give us some information about your company and how you guys got involved with the UTA, please?
Yes, I started Gable Capital Insurance 8 years ago, and we underwrite dealer open lot floor plan insurance for commercial truck dealers. My history in the trucking business goes back many years. I started years ago working for Iowa Motor Truck Association and then Daimler Truck Finance, which is the captive finance company for Freightliner truck dealers and Western Star truck dealers. So been doing that for a long time. I've been in the insurance business the past 26 years. And as I got involved in the insurance business and understood how truck dealerships work and how dealer open lot floor plan financing works, I saw an opportunity to write insurance for the truck dealership market segment. It's really misunderstood, the floor plan insurance. Many insurance carriers shy away from it because it can be a difficult line of business. But from an underwriting perspective, we found that truck dealers are actually a very good risk. And we initially started writing floor plan insurance for franchise truck dealers. And we saw an opportunity in the marketplace to write for independent truck dealers in late 23 and joined the UTA in early 2024.
That's awesome.
You spoke about prior to the podcast starting here, we talked about garage insurance. How does that differentiate? What's the similarities, differences on that?
So garage insurance also includes floor plan insurance, but many insurance carriers break that out. It's two different coverage lines. So when insurance agents speak about garage insurance, it primarily deals with general liability, auto liability, and auto physical damage. That is general liability for your dealership when you're servicing trucks in your service department, or someone walks into your dealership and they're hurt, slip, or fall. That is the garage liability piece of it. The floor plan insurance is ensuring your inventory held for sale. And that's what we focus on today, is that inventory held for sale.
Okay, that makes sense. When you're underwriting this, are you pooling the different, you had 3 or 4 used truck dealers, are you pooling their assets together then to get better rates or to disperse some of the maybe risk factor?
No, we don't do that. But what we do is we underwrite each dealership location. So again, a dealership can use their existing retail insurance agent because we are underwriters. So we're not retail insurance agents. So we are quoting the account and binding the account, but we underwrite each dealership location for primarily security. You know, is your lot fenced or not? Do you have video surveillance or not? And then we also underwrite for weather. Are you in a flood zone? Are you in a hail zone? Are you in a tornado zone? Are you in an earthquake zone? And our pricing depends upon what type of weather zone you're in, and then also based upon your risk characteristics of the dealership. If your lot's fenced, you'll get a credit. If it's not fenced, you'll get a debit. If you haven't had any claims, you'll get a credit. If you have security, if your lot's fenced, you get a credit. If you have video surveillance and monitoring, you get a credit. So that's how we underwrite each dealership.
This may wrap into what you just explained, but what do you see as some of the most common insurance or risk management gaps you see in dealerships, and how does Gable Capital help close those?
The biggest issue in the industry today is theft. You know, we've been underwriting floor plan insurance since 2007, and over all those years, we have paid out approximately $13 million in theft claims and $3 million in weather. And it's really misunderstood by insurance insurance carriers that weather is the issue. It's not, theft is. So what we do is work with dealers and their insurance agents to help them secure their inventory. What can a dealer do to best secure their inventory? And again, we write in every state in the U.S. and we see claims from all over the U.S. and theft is everywhere. It's not necessarily regionalized. And what we can tell, what we've gained from our experience is that having your lot fenced is better than not being fenced. But an electric fence is best. Video surveillance is good, but it is meaningless unless you do not have some type of monitoring system to monitor so that you can alert the authorities as soon as someone's on your lot, or you have some type of alert system. Having concrete barriers in place in front of gated fence lines is great. Do not park your trucks outside the fence line at night. High-value trucks, put a GPS theft deterrent on it. So we work with dealers to help educate them about securing their inventory. A lot of people think that it'll never happen to them until it happens to you.
Quick thing I would piggyback is, Mike, when we receive a submission from a new, broker that's looking for coverage for a dealership, there might be some headaches or some frustrations with, hey, you're telling me that, like Jeff said, our lot's not fenced. And just like you said, it's never going to happen to me. I'm making up a story here, but maybe there's a embankment or a hill of some kind that surrounds my property. And, there's no need for a fence there, or some of the, kind of preconceived thoughts these guys have. But the small enhancements you can do on these security measures, we've seen pay real dividends, with hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings, or, some of these it could reach $1 million when you look at the exposures guys got out there. So, the videotapes that we see from some that have the cameras of how these, criminals are getting more sophisticated, it's a scary time. And we see, this theft really ebb and flow with the economy too. And just like Jeff said, after 2020, there were some real spikes there, and we've seen the same thing over the last few months here. So some of these can sound a little far-fetched, or like Jeff said, just things you wouldn't think about, but some of these small tweaks can make a real impact when it comes down to it.
And going over that, do you guys have any real-world examples that you can help a dealer avoid major losses? I know you already touched on it. Do you have actual examples of a way to improve their coverage?
Well, going back to that, to the theft part, is that we have had trucks recovered from dealerships that had to put an Apple AirPod in their truck, or put a GPS theft deterrent or a unit in their truck. And so we've recovered trucks where that has occurred. So it's just, vitally important to secure that inventory. And it doesn't matter if it's rural or urban. It is happening everywhere. And you just unfortunately have to be prepared to secure that inventory as best you can. Sometimes there are things you can't do about it. So the other part, going about saving money, what we found on the independent truck dealer side is that it was a market that's been underserved. And what I mean by that is they are lumped into a group of what I would say people considered a bad risk. We felt like we gained all this experience. As I mentioned before, we've been underwriting truck dealership floor plan insurance since 2007, and really primarily serving the franchise truck dealers. And we had a couple of submissions in back in 2023 for independent truck dealers. And I started looking at it. I did some research, and I'm thinking, well, there's no reason why we can't write independent truck dealer. And so when we started looking at this, we found that the pricing was more expensive than what we quoted in the franchise new truck dealer world. Plus the coverages were not as good. And what I mean by coverages would be you could have a weather deductible such as hail. You might not have hail coverage. Or if you had hail coverage, it would be on a per vehicle and not an aggregate basis. And then, we have other coverages such as impending damage. So if you have a storm coming and you need to move trucks out of harm's way, we pay the expenses to do that. And so we have a broader coverage form. And since we understand truck dealerships, our pricing is more competitive than what's out there in the marketplace today, because truck dealerships are misunderstood as it concerns writing dealer open lot floor plan insurance.
I felt that way for a long time when I was an owner-operator myself, but I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just still floored on the difference between the theft amount and the weather amount. We've heard our rates kind of keep going up here in Iowa because of the derechos the last few years, and so that's kind of been the discussion, but it's probably more impacted nationwide by the theft stuff.
Right. And what's interesting, Steve, you brought up the derecho. When that derecho occurred, we had a truck dealership in Cedar Rapids and Des Moines, Iowa, that the Cedar Rapids lot had about $15 million in truck inventory on its lot. And Steve, straight line winds were 110, 115.
Exactly.
There was no claim. There was damage done to the dealership building, but there was not one truck inventory claim. And what I tell people is it's very difficult to tip over a 33,000 pound truck. It really is. And trucks, the engine block sets up pretty high off the ground. It's really kind of hard for a flood to get up that high. You're going to have time to move your truck. So if water is coming, right? And so that's what I mean by misunderstood. We've been hit by 8 direct hurricanes. Harvey, for example, in Houston, and numerous others. We have not had a hurricane. Have not in all this time. And we write $8 billion a month in values across the United States and every state of the country. And Texas is our largest state. We have about 800 million in insured values in Texas all across the state. We don't have weather issues. We have not had weather issues. All the way down to the Gulf, up to the Panhandle. We have theft issues? Yes. We do not have weather issues.
So you probably saw quite a bit of activity when post-COVID, where the CPUs were disappearing out of all the Freightliners. That was kind of a rash of theft.
Yeah. Tell you what, that time period from 20 to 24 was just absolutely, the theft skyrocketed. And, prior to 24, we might have a couple truck thefts a year. It's understandable. But when COVID hit, supply chain issue, values of trucks increased, difficult to get trucks, organized crime, and that's who's stealing these trucks. It's not amateurs. It is organized crime. And organized crime stepped into the void and started stealing trucks left and right. And it was unbelievable. And it just got worse in 2020, 21, 22, 23. 24 was the worst. We paid out $4.4 million in theft claims in 2024. 2025, the border's shut. More support of law enforcement. 2025 is back to normal. So back to prior to 2020, pre-COVID days. The amount of theft that occurred in 2024, you guys have heard it from cargo, right? Cargo theft was crazy. It was unbelievable. It really was unbelievable how bad it was. And these trucks are being parted out, going to chop shops. Chop shops busted in Florida, but they're going overseas. They're either going across the border, they're going to South America, or else they're going to the Mideast or Eastern Europe. It was something else. It really was.
So with what you've been explaining, it sounds to me like you, and I'm just going to use an example back when I was an owner-operator, I remember the insurance company saying, there's just questions. Do you have a fence? Do you have surveillance? Do you have this? It sounds like you guys get a little more involved with the dealer to help them get their rates down. How does partnering with Gable Capital help the dealership operate a little more efficiently?
I would say there's a couple of items there, right? We really know the industry well. Going back to, Brit's been in the transportation business for 9 years now, 2 with us and 7 on the retail side with an insurance agency selling insurance to trucking companies. I go back to my days at Iowa Motor Truck and Daimler Truck Finance. So I understand how dealerships work. I understand how trucking companies work. And I've been in the insurance business the last 26 years. So we understand that side of how those businesses operate. We also understand the insurance side of it. So we don't freak out when, trucks, we know trucks are rolling stock. Like, I might have 2 million here today, but I might have 2 million, in St. Louis tomorrow, and that 2 million is going to be in Denver the next day. Well, they go, an insurance carrier that doesn't understand the business said, well, what do you mean? I said, it's rolling stock. Trucks don't make money unless they move. Trucks are bought and sold every day. So you have to understand that side of the business. So we really understand that side of it. And then on the underwriting side, we understand the exposures, and we really try to work with dealers to educate them and the retail insurance agents on where we see claims coming from. And then we have control over our claims. So every dollar matters to us. We want to pay claims, and we want to help the dealers with their claims, and then we do that, but we really care about the expense side of managing that claim.
Hey, Jeff, so question, and I thought you were about to hit it on the head there, but so how does that work with your premiums and rates? Does it scale with what you have? Is it a set amount? Is it reporting VINs or how does that look?
Yeah. So from an underwriting perspective, we are very flexible when it comes to deductibles and reporting. We give the dealership and the retail insurance agents options. So we're going to quote a rate, right? And so, we give the dealer, if you want to pay for your insurance, when you buy an insurance coverage, you can pay for the entire premium. You can also monthly report your TIV, your insured values. We don't want the list of all your units. We just said, here's, we have 10 units. Just tell us what the insured values are and just report the insured values. Well, I have 3.2 million this month, and you fill out, a one-page report. Just says, we just want a location, 123 Main Street, the city, state, zip, 3.2 million. And then we invoice you on that 3.2 million. So you only pay on what you report.
Gotcha. Okay.
There was something that I was going to mention too, to kind of tie it back to something that you brought up, Steve, too. I think you mentioned, again, going back to that derecho, some of the messaging you got from the insurance company and underwriters on that. I'd say the big thing, too, that we try to pride ourselves on is exactly like you said in your example there. There's always been this kind of behind the curtain view when it comes to some of that insurance, right, and what's actually going on behind the scenes and how the insurance companies think and view and interpreting something. We try to remove that curtain and be, client-facing, just like we're doing right now with you guys. So when we have brokers that come to us, we love to hop on calls with clients and give them, the exact same message that we're doing right now to let them know here's the real impact, like Jeff was saying, on how we can help you from a rate and coverage perspective. But at the end of the day, when we can do that, come to somebody and say, hey, we can give you better coverage at a better cost, that's exciting for us. And what gets us, excited to go out there and meet more folks like that and do the same thing over and over again.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Hey, how many independents do you guys service right now?
We write approximately 300 truck dealers across the country and about 2,000 locations. And I would say we have approximately 10 independent truck dealers. Obviously, we'd like to write more, so hopefully this will help get the word out. And again, we'll work with their current retail insurance agent. Again, we're an underwriter, so we're not a competitor to each dealer's retail insurance agent.
Right. Now, I can see that being a big benefit. They have that relationship already with their current provider, right? But this also probably helps educate the current provider that doesn't deal with many customers like a Vander or TransWest or somebody like that. They don't understand that business. So that's where you guys can provide a lot of value.
Right. And so you can view us really as the insurance carrier, because what we have done is we've negotiated with Allianz, the insurance carrier, and we've negotiated with them and said, okay, you guys understand the truck dealership space better than we do, so we're going to let you underwrite on our behalf. So we negotiate the terms and conditions with Allianz as to how we're going to underwrite, and then they say, okay, here are the rules. You need to follow these rules. We said, okay. And we've been with Allianz 17 years now, so we have a lot of credibility with them. And, our check and balance on you is you have to monthly report everything you do to us or do for us each month, and then we get to audit you from an underwriting perspective and a financial perspective. And so that's their check and balance on us to make sure that we're doing the right thing or following the rules that we agreed to.
Right.
I have a two-part question on that. So first one would be if you're talking to a potential UTA member who wants to jump over to you and they're telling you their insurance company saying, no, we can't do that. First of all, is there any way that you wouldn't be able to work with a major carrier that you guys already may know or may not know of? Is there any validity to the fact that if they're being told by their insurance carrier that no, they can't work with you? Is there any legitimacy to that? Would there be any examples of where that could happen?
Yes, because we would be a competitor to that other insurance carrier. So in essence, that retail insurance agent that is working with, the dealer, right, they're going to go to different insurance carriers to try to place coverage, right? And so that retail insurance agent would just come to us to place the floor plan insurance. And what we're glad to do, because we do this, all the time, is we'll be glad to review your policy and compare it against ours. And let's just see where it falls. We've been doing this for a long time. We can get that turned around in maybe 30 minutes. And we can tell you, your coverage is great. Or it's like, here's our policy compared to this one. And here are the differences. And here's what we would have for pricing. And let us know how it stacks up. So
you don't hear the word excitement in insurance a lot, but that's the one thing that gets us excited and fired up. When we can come to somebody and say, hey, here's, a dozen items that are going to, make a huge impact on the coverage that you're getting. And oh, by the way, here's the improved rate that we can bring you in a lot of cases. That sounds kind of geeky, but that's the world that we live in. And what gets us excited there.
Brit, you jumped right into my second part of the question.
I apologize.
No, you're perfect. That was perfect. My next part of the question was the meat and potatoes of all this. And I'm not sure if you can do this, but without disclosing who you're working with currently in the UTA, can you give any kind of examples of dollar values you were actually able to save a dealer? Because I'm sure our listeners will be extremely interested to hear this part.
Jeff's got this down to the cent. So he's got, I think, a handful here that he could pull from.
Yeah, I can say, there's one dealer I know that was paying, I believe, about $8,000 or $9,000 a year in floor plan insurance, and their charge with us was $4,500. There's another dealer that was paying, let's say, about $4,000, and our charge was $2,000. So I think it's fair to say that we could save 30 to 50% off your floor plan insurance. I think that's a safe number.
That's an extremely significant value because I've been removed from being an owner-operator since 2014, and that would have saved me a tremendous amount. I mean, even breaking that backwards for what that percentage would have been back then, that would have been pretty significant because if I'm not mistaken, I think my insurance was probably around $25,000 to $35,000 a year back then.
Sure. Right. Yeah. So if you're paying $35,000 for your floor plan insurance, so I think it's safe to say we'd probably be at 20. Oh, I could think of one we just wrote. Actually, we wrote it a little over a year ago. They were paying $54,000, and our charge was 20. And they have better coverage. Yeah.
Ironically, our podcast that prior to this one was a dealer who I believe he did say he switched over to you guys and was extremely happy with the savings that he had. I'm pretty sure I remember talking about that. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But
you're right. He was one of the examples I just gave. On the savings, yes. Yeah.
Good thing we didn't say any names.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Our dedicated listeners will know, though. They might touch on.
Exactly, Britt. We'll keep on their toes. Hey, so if we have a listener that's independent today and he is interested in seeking out a quote from you guys, is it best for him to call you directly or for them to have their insurance agent contact you, or what works best?
They can reach us directly and give us their insurance agent's name, or they can have their insurance agent call us.
Okay.
And reach out to us, send us an email or call us. I believe our information, I don't know if it's on the UTA website or not, or obviously we can share it with you guys and you can provide it, but either themselves or their agent can work and reach out to us. But we are going to work through an agent because we're an underwriter. We're not set up to be a retail agent. So we're going to work through their retail agent. Or if they're not happy with the retail agent, we have agents that we can recommend that know the truck dealership space well.
To both extremes there of the spectrum, just like you were talking about, Mike, if they're happy with their current agent, there's no change that needs to be made there. But just like Jeff said, we're happy to connect you with somebody in the space if need be too, which would both happen here.
What we can do is also get with the developers of our website and see if we can make sure that you're on there. For some reason, I thought you were on there, but I need to go back through and double check that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Is there anything that you guys that we didn't touch on that you guys feel is very important to cover to let the potential customers know, UTA members know that we've touched on a lot? So I just don't know if there's anything else you guys want to add to this that we're missing.
I do have one other item that I want to bring up. We're focused on the truck dealership industry space, and we have recently rolled out a new product line for F&I products. every dealer wants to increase their gross profit per vehicle. Plus, it's important that, the individual or companies buying trucks, everybody wants to have their asset protected. So we now have products for GAP, vehicle service contracts, interior and exterior of the cab, tire, wheel, and GPS theft deterrent. So these are all web-based. They're on a web portal, and it's something that, dealers can help their customers protect their asset, plus also helps the dealer improve their gross profit per vehicle. And we'd be glad to talk directly with any and all dealers that have interest in doing that.
Oh, that would be terrific. Could have you into one of our dealer groups, or we were also hosting or starting up a new independent dealer group too. So I could see you guys visiting with that group being a great opportunity for them to hear about you.
Would love to get you guys on the Independent Dealer Council meeting. It's just kicking off, so probably not the first one, but one of the ones right after that I feel would be beneficial.
We do have one UTA member that we've signed up, and I think, Brit, how many we've written? Maybe 20 GAP contracts with them in like 2 months. In 2 months. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, if we don't have anything else to go over, maybe we can wrap this one up. I want to make sure everybody understands that the Red River Shootout is coming up. That's, again, April 21st to the 23rd. Sign up is still available at uta.org. You can register there, and there's always sponsorships available to that as well. Anybody have anything else they want to add in?
Thank you for having us. We certainly appreciate the time, and we appreciate our relationship with the UTA as well.
If you guys can send me your contact information, I'll make sure we get it out to the UTA members and see if we can get it posted on the podcast as well, so people can know how to reach you quicker or whenever they're needing.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Brit and Jeff from Gable Capital Insurance. This is Mike Gardecki, Steve Bootsma, and Scott Wynn, and we'll see you at the next podcast.